Welcome to Persons of Interest. I am your host, Derek Dockett. This edition of the podcast is a little different than the others that I've done. In this episode, I'm joined by 4 guests, and together we watched the 2018 NCAA Tournament first round game between Miami and Loyola University Chicago. Of course, the Loyola Ramblers would go on to advance to the Final Four in 2018, and the dramatic win over Miami was the start of a very special run. My guests in this podcast are Bill Behrens, Ryan Haley, Austin Hansen, and Jeremiah McCallie. Now, these 4 gentlemen were part of Loyola's run behind the scenes, serving as part of the athletic department staff in communications, social media, and video content roles. Together, we all watched the Ramblers take on Miami, and the guys during this broadcast shared stories and thoughts and comments about the game, the run to the Final Four, the players, and everything surrounding the Ramblers that year. Now, you can feel free to watch along with us in this podcast. The full game is available on YouTube. It's about an hour and 10 minutes long. Now, we don't do play-by-play of the game, and you won't hear us calling every basket made, but you will hear some audio from time to time when it's relevant, and we'll give you time cues in the game of where we are in the broadcast. The full game is on YouTube, as I mentioned, on the March Madness account, and it's titled Loyola Chicago versus Miami in 2018 NCAA Tournament. Now, also, I'll give you a heads up ahead of time that I had some technical difficulties during the podcast, so there'll be an interruption in the timing of the watch along. But again, I'll provide time cues so you can get caught up to where we are in that game broadcast. But you'll be alerted to that, so feel free to pause the podcast and catch up on YouTube, or do whatever you need to do to get things lined up with us as we watch along during the game. So, without further ado, here's 4 persons of interest watching the Loyola Ramblers take on the Miami Hurricanes from the 2018 NCAA Tournament. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special edition of the Persons of Interest podcast because we are taking a step back in history to the 2018 NCAA tournament, and I've got 4 people with me that were at a game in Dallas. Where are we at? Dallas? Yeah, Dallas, Texas, March 2018, when the Loyola Ramblers took on the Miami Hurricanes. And to relive this game with me, I've got Bill Behrens from Loyola University Chicago. I've got Ryan Haley from Loyola University Chicago. Austin Hansen, who I think is still Loyola University Chicago. And Jeremiah McCallie, who was Loyola University Chicago. I'll let them guys do intros because we got like an hour to go through. We're going to watch this game together. I've got the YouTube link in the show notes. So I'm going to do a quick countdown. We'll just start playing, and I'll let these guys, once we get tip-off going, they'll sort of describe what their roles were during this game, and we'll tell some stories about Loyola's run through the NCAA tournament to the Final Four in 2018. But we'll focus on this game in Miami because it's one of all the games were dramatic, but this one piqued interest, we all think, and so we'll use this one. So if you've got it pulled up on YouTube, it's titled Loyola Chicago versus Miami 2018 NCAA Tournament, full game. It's from the March Madness YouTube account. Countdown coming up, and we'll go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, play.
As they are in the tournament for the first time in 30
There you go.
years.
Tournament's underway. In this game, Loyola, the 11th seed, Miami, the 6th seed. So we don't need to get play-by-play. Obviously, folks can watch. But I think what is fun to do, you guys all had a seat at this game somewhere courtside. So let's start with you, Bill. You're the leader of this pack of misfits, I think, right? I mean, kind of, sort of. What were you doing this game? What was your role through the tournament for Loyola?
Well, I don't know if I want the title or role of in charge of these misfits. I guess I'll take it by default. But I was I'm in charge of athletic communications. So I was sitting courtside, right, just a shade off of half court. and I was keeping the official scorebook. Our coaches are always asking for a bunch of information and things during the game, so I was dialed in, making sure obviously that I took care of all of their needs with stuff. They're always asking me who's in the game every time out and all that jazz, so I'm always keeping track of that stuff.
Ryan, you are have a similar role, but you were along for the ride, providing bills of support. What were you doing during the tournament? What were you doing specifically at this game? And I don't know, give us some background.
This game, I had the pleasure of being seated between the bearded fellow, Jeremiah, and Jack Watkins from the Valley.
Oh, yeah.
Experience that I'm sure we'll touch on later. But no, during this game, Jeremiah was tweeting. I was trying to write a story throughout the game so we could get something up on our website as quick as possible. But it was after this weekend that I was given the reins of the Sister Jean media train.
Oh, very important role.
Experience within itself, but no, this was it's cool to look back and see this is the start of everything.
Austin, we'll let you go next since you're still employed by the school.
Okay,
for now.
No, so I'm the director of video. So my job is to capture everything, whether it's in the game, before the game, alumni events, anything. But yeah, the big thing here is obviously the game highlights. I am sitting on whichever end Loyola is scoring on. I'm on that end, but I never sat in the box that I was supposed to sit in because the team video one at the NCAA tournament was right up against the hoop. So if you try to turn left, all you get is a bunch of hoop and you don't get any highlights. So I moved around a little bit to try to get open spots, and sometimes they would move me. And but right now it looks like I am in the back row towards the I guess Miami bench, and I got a big green armband on.
All right. And Jeremiah, what's up?
Oh, man, I'm nervous. I have not watched a single one of these games back yet.
See, that's great. By the way, before you go, has anybody watched this game since then?
I have, yeah. I've watched it probably twice.
Okay.
I've watched the highlights, but I've never sat through and physically watched the entire game.
Okay. Austin, have you? You've probably cut highlights from it several times.
Yeah, I was going to say, not to sit down and enjoy it, but I've watched all of them 100 times forward and backwards.
Okay. Jeremiah, go for it.
Yeah, so I was a director of creative content, and throughout this game, live tweeted it, and while our photographer, Steve, he'll love this, Woldman, SW Photos, our guy, he was sending me photos. I was touching them up, and then around halftime, uploading those. All of the graphics were already done pre-game, so it was really just tweeting, touching up photos, and celebrating with Haley.
Nice. No cheering on press row, right?
For the record, I think we had a softball game going on during this too. That one of us.
That's right.
One of us was probably trying to tweet.
Yeah, I think I did odd innings and you did even innings.
Yeah, something crazy.
Wow. Well, the Ramblers have a 10-6 lead. We've got 15:31 on the clock with a stoppage in play. They're showing Dante Ingram quick highlights here as they go to a break, it looks like. 15:31, 10-6. So at this point, we know how this is going to turn out, but I don't think anybody saw. I guess go back to the game before this, dramatic. You guys sort of had an awesome season going into it, made your way through the Valley tournament, but Flair in the first round, Flair in this one going forward. But I don't know, what are nerves like for you guys during this? Anybody? I mean, are you just not trying to forget the moment? You're just I don't know. I don't know what I'm asking here, because to me, I'm sure for me, I wasn't even working at the Valley this time. I'm watching this as a pure fan. And I'm like, man, I really hope they get to the Sweet 16. Oh, wow. I really hope they get to the Elite 8. Wow, they're in the Final Four. Holy crap. And it just happened. So, I mean, I can remember watching Porter coach at Illinois State. Always wanted to root for that guy. And so for them to get and have a run like this was always just awesome to see. So I don't know, what your guys' reaction to just the run in general?
Go ahead, Austin.
Oh, I was gonna say for you and me, Jeremiah, it was really weird because this entire season was our first year at Loyola. So each time we did something over and over again, we didn't know any different. So all the Loyola fans are freaking out. They're like, we're winning an NCAA tournament game. We won the Valley. We're yelling, and we're like, yeah, isn't it always like this here?
Wow, that fan is pumped up. Somebody give me some background on the scarves, by the way.
Oh, Bill. Haley, you take that away.
Like, how they originate? What's the deal?
That was, if I'm not mistaken, that might have been like something that really kind of took off our first year in the MVC.
Really? I remember the first year, like the small clump of alums, but okay.
Yeah. I mean, from what I remember, I think when we joined the league, one of our big things was about wanting to get a lot of students down to that first Arch Madness when Milt hit the game winner against Bradley on Thursday night. Mm-hmm. And I still remember that being like a big thing, was like the scarves kind of took, that's where they kind of started. And then you just started to see more and more and more of them. And obviously like here's where it just really like took off like a rocket ship. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of where they all got their start, was like that first year in the Valley. We wanted something to kind of, so people, when we were in St. Louis, people could identify us.
Andre Jackson was a beast.
Yes.
Andre, I felt like was when he came in this game, we got six. He scored 6 straight, quick off the bench, and that started setting the tone for the rest of it. No. Little
did I know, a week later in an open locker room in Atlanta, I'd have to go get Andre out of the bathroom. hiding from the media.
Hiding from press. Sorry. Yeah.
You didn't want to do the media.
He had no interest, I think, in talking to anyone in that locker room.
Really?
Gray was such a mismatch problem for Power 5 teams because he was so crafty around the basket and had an unbelievable ability to score. But he was really, I mean, I think we listed him at 6'5", but he was probably like 6'3" or 6'4". But I mean, he carved up Florida when we beat them. They were ranked 5th in the country at the time down at their place. And he always seemed to play his best against Power 5 teams. Like I said, I think it was just mostly because it was such a mismatch problem. So he was, in my opinion, he probably was the MVP of that team, to be honest with you. He really meant so much, and he was coming off the bench. So
yeah.
And it was so cool that we got to play so many games in Texas, because I remember when the selection show happened and they pulled up that we were going to Dallas, and he called his mom right away and said, "I'm coming home. Like, I get to play in front of the family and the home crowd," and he was pumped about that.
Right now, we've got 13:06, 05, 04 on the clock. The Ramblers flip a shot. Miami with a rebound, going back the other way. So the story of Sister Jean really took off during this tournament, and people got to know how wonderful she is. I was talking. Yeah, stating the obvious, right? the most like undertold way I could put that, I guess. Who had the role of sort of managing media requests as it came to her? Bill, did you do that? Ryan, were you part of that? Because I remember I was talking to Haley a few days ago, and we briefly touched on one of my visuals that I just always remember was the press gathering that she had her own media session and tons of folks in a room, and she's just holding court and just like she could do it anytime, any day of the week. Like, what was it like managing media constantly that want to talk to her?
Well, it started with Bill in Dallas. I didn't take that over until I think that was like the Monday we got back. That was when I remember you and Steve coming down and telling me that I wasn't taking that over. But like, that was you at the start.
Yeah, no, it was, I mean, I was trying to handle that. And then once we got through that first weekend, with the amount of stuff we had for Porter and for the players, and then you throw the Sister Jean thing on top of it. It was impossible to keep up with emails and phone calls and everything else. And I remember just going to Ryan and saying, basically, I don't know if I said it in these exact words, but I was like, whether you like it or not, you're on Sister Jean detail for the rest of the tournament. And I was like, I trust you to do, to pick what we think is best to do. But anything that comes to me, I'm just going to forward it right to you. And if you have any questions and you aren't sure about anything, just let me know. But this is your deal. Go ahead and run with it. And he did an unbelievable job the rest of those last 2 weeks. So
I don't know. Most people probably have no idea what it's like. First of all, what your jobs are working in sports, for one. But in a time like this, where the media attention is so high, you guys have unique roles of what you do. And when it comes to the NCAA tournament, and the more and more you progress, the more and more the media wants things from coaches, from players. And you guys were in the role of managing that from a social media standpoint. Austin doing so much video capture and putting out on social media and things like that. That is not just you're doing your job on a regular basis. You were doing your job, turned up the volume to a 20 at this point, and then on the way to the Final Four to a 50. The emails, the phone calls probably never stop, right? Midnight, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. What's the regular day like, Bill?
I don't even know if you could even say there's a regular day. I don't know if there's a regular day even when you're not going through a run like this.
Yeah.
But I think, honestly, I think I was averaging probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours of sleep a night.
That's too much sleep.
It was impossible. I remember talking to Matt Larson from Michigan State after we made the Final Four, and I've known Matt for a long time, and he reached out to me and he goes, hey, there's somebody who's been to probably about 7 Final Fours with Michigan State, and he said, look, 1, don't be afraid to say no to people, and 2, there's no way you're going to be able to respond to everybody. It's impossible. There's no way you can do it. And that, I really took that to heart. Obviously, when you're a smaller program that struggles for attention and media coverage, you want to get back to everybody. But there were things we had to kind of change our game plan for those couple of weeks. It was. It was our job on steroids basically for a 3-week period. And thank God for us that Jeremiah and Austin, that we had those guys who were unbelievable, that we didn't have to worry about anything. Those guys absolutely killed it. And were a huge help to everything else that we needed to still do aside from basketball during those 3 weeks.
All right, so at this point of the podcast, we'll pick things up with the score tied at 20-20, Miami 20, Loyola 20, with about 5:35 on the game clock. So if you're watching the game on YouTube, feel free to pause the podcast. It's just a podcast, and you can catch up to that point, or feel free to skip ahead to that point in the game and continue on with us in the podcast. So however you want to do it, no big deal, but you'll hear the time cues come back up as we continue on here on Persons of Interest. Loyola and Miami's tied 20-20, 5:35, 5:34 on the clock. You guys were in mid-conversation when I got booted and came back, but I'll let you guys keep going. I'm sure you all have unique stories from your own personal experience about this whole run of interesting stuff and people and fans and administrators. Need I go any further? I don't know.
Oh God.
Well, it's not this game, but like talking about like administrators and whatnot. I didn't get to go to the pre. I guess it was a pre-game meeting of some sort, but I remember you guys telling the story how you walked in and there were like 3 people from Loyola and there were like 20 people from like Michigan. As far as your staff.
I was gonna say I remember it was before the Kansas State game because it was to prep you for the Final Four in case you won, and they had said like bring your SID, bring somebody from your administrative team, your director of basketball operations, and your ticket person. There's 4 of us there. And we walk into the room, and Kansas State has like, I'm probably exaggerating this, but they had like 25 people in there. Like the whole room is purple. And we're like, are you kidding me? It was unbelievable. And then then you go back and you think about it and you're like, man, they had 25 people or whatever they had in that room to handle all this stuff. And now there's, basically the 4 of us that are handling a Final Four. There's
Bill. There's Bill. I just saw you on the first row typing away.
Must have been thanks to the phone book I was probably sitting on so I could see over the
I remember the SID meeting in San Antonio. It's like Bill, you and I, and like Heck, I'm Loyola grad, and I've only worked at Loyola, so like I've always known sports information to be 2 or 3 people top. You walk in there, and it's like Michigan, Nova, and Kansas with their like small armies, and you just got Bill and I sitting at a table by ourselves. It's like, what have we gotten ourselves into?
That was Texas Tech was in this region, and when we walked in. I don't think it was it would have been the second game. I think they played before us. But Texas Tech was there, and I sat down next to their video people. They had 4 people for video. They had 3 full-timers and 1 GA, and they were all doing something different. And I remember asking them, like, what are all of you doing?
That was after we beat, I think that was after we beat Tennessee, because it was like, I remember sitting there, and they had like a bunch of video guys in the media workroom, like recording the game, clipping highlights, all this stuff. And I'm like, my gosh. Like,
it was amazing.
Crazy.
This got to make you guys proud that you're doing as good of, if not a better job than all those large schools you guys there's been so many news articles written about, heck, I think all of you, except for Haley. I think there was something about there was a story about Bill. There was a story about Austin. There was a story about everybody, that what you guys did behind the scenes to promote what the team was doing.
They were really hurting for news stories if they were writing about us. I'll say that. We could have given them a lot better things to write about.
Bill got mad at me because I was on a radio show and I didn't tell him about it.
In Iowa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, you weren't going to mention that part.
The only people who heard it were at a Casey's General Store.
Nothing wrong with that.
A whole lot more.
That's the only place it was actually aired on. So, Bill, you were good.
Oh man. I was thinking I'd keep track of like runs or something, but you guys are taking the ball and running with it here. I've got 24-20 with the score, 3:05 left in the half.
Heading to the line, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy on the aspect of these first 2 rounds. Whenever it came down to it, we're nervous, but after that, I think it was just kind of, me and Haley talked about it a little bit, was you just expected to win. Like the Nevada game, you knew Marcus was going to hit that shot. There was not a doubt. You didn't get nervous. It was okay, he's going to hit it.
I remember before Kansas State, and like, Jeremiah, I can't remember if I told you this or if it was like somebody else that I was just like randomly talking to before the game. I was like, it was like, we're going to win this game by 20. Like, we've had so much go right. I was like, we're about as razor sharp as could be right now. Like,
and Ben came out on fire, and we just looked at each other. We're going to San Antonio.
So that's funny. The game I remember feeling most confident about while watching was the Kansas State game.
Yep. Yeah.
For some reason, I was just like, they're going to win this game. Like, before it started, I'm like, they're going to win this game.
Yeah.
They have no idea what they're
kept thinking, I'm like, Kansas State's going to be so gassed. I mean, they had to knock off Kentucky a day before. Oh. Like, there's no way.
Well, that was the amazing thing about it, is like, after we had beaten Nevada, you're like, your head kind of goes to that, like, oh my God, we're going to play Kentucky in the Elite Eight. Mm-hmm. Like, we're going to play them in like Atlanta in a huge, and that arena is going to be painted blue, and like, it's going to be a great atmosphere. And then like, I can't remember if we were like back at the hotel, like doing stuff, and I flipped the game and I was like, oh my God, Kansas State's up by like 15 right now.
Yeah. Cause our game was before their game. And so I remember getting done with the video, packing up to leave, and watching like the last 2 minutes in-house, and then walking out of the arena with 20,000 sad Kentucky fans. Like,
nothing better than that.
Who invaded our hotel the next day, selling their tickets to the regional final. Yeah. It's amazing.
Look at the defense.
I agree, Greg. It was like that going into that Kansas State game. That was the one game going in. I agree that, you felt so confident, and you could see with each game that our guys won, they got more confident. And that was just the one where I'm like, we're going to win this thing, and we're going to go to the Final Four. I don't know that I thought we'd win by 16 points, but that was just that one coming into that. You felt really good about it. The other 3, you're like, all right, these could go either way. But that was one that you definitely felt good going into.
And I think the Tennessee game, when Tennessee announced Kyle Alexander was out, the 6'11" guy, when they announced he was out, I think I looked at you, Haley, and was like, "Oh, we're going to win this game. We can win this."
Exactly. I was like, I couldn't have had anybody better sit next to me to tell me about it. Oh man, yeah. No, and as I say, the Tennessee and Nevada games were kind of mirror images of each other at the start because both times it was like Tennessee and Nevada both came out like a house of fire and jumped all over us, and you were like, "Oh, this could get away in a hurry," and then it was just kind of slowly but surely we'd chip away and have it tied at like the under 4 again.
Yeah. Admiral Schofield had 3 quick threes within the first 3 minutes. It seemed like.
Yeah.
Gosh, Admiral Schofield, when that game started, he got out there next to our guys. I'm like, this is a guy. Like,
this is a guy.
You look like you had already been playing in the NBA for 5 years.
Yeah.
That was a little scary.
So we're about 51 seconds from halftime. I do have some questions about the team. We'll wait till we get through this half here. As I've got Miami getting ready to go to the free throw line to shoot, it looks like, as they're showing. There we go. Yeah, they are shooting free throws here with the Ramblers up 26-24. The bench looks pretty calm. They get pumped up at times, but Porter's a unique guy on the sidelines, Bill. I say that because I know you've got the most upfront seat. And the best part about watching Loyola games now that I don't work the Valley is when I see Porter go up and down the line and I see you doing this, like trying to see the court. And I'm like, Porter's just in his way all the time.
Yeah, he's definitely the most high energy guy that I've ever been around. But I mean, he's people see how animated he is on the sidelines and think he must be crazy. And I remember kind of thinking that myself when he was at Illinois State and I was at Loyola, and I'm like, wow, this guy, man, he's intense. But honestly, like, there's not a better guy in the world. I don't know if I'd really want to work for another coach. I love the guy. He's hilarious, treats you really well. And he's great with the kids. He's got a great rapport with those guys too.
Yeah. Looks like Miami might be holding for the last possession. I'll crank up the volume from where I am. We got 12 seconds.
Shots again, shot clock at 5. 8 seconds left in the half. This is Newton. Here comes the ceiling from Philly. No. Got it at the ceiling. It's good. Look at, he puts it down. And that takes us to halftime here in Dallas.
The Ramblers are switching those down.
So they went straight to the second half. It's 28-28 at the half. The weird thing, after looking at the scores of the tournament, Tennessee, this game will obviously it'll be dramatic at the end, but a 2-point win, a 1-point win against Tennessee, a 1-point win against Nevada, and then, of course, Kansas State, a little bit wider of a margin there, 78-62. Couldn't get any more dramatic. Like, could it be any more nerve-wracking for people sitting courtside for a team, and they didn't make it easy for you to do your jobs without sweating your palms off?
It's so hard to turn. It's so hard to turn off being a fan, even when you're working in those situations.
Yeah, but this is a pretty special moment too. Like, you're rooting so hard for them to do something here.
Yeah, you can't necessarily show it when you're there, but yeah, you're inside. You're just pulling for it, and you want it for these guys so bad, and it's weird in the sense of like a lot like. Win or lose, that affects our life for the next week, month, year. Yeah. Like, every single time we did it, it's like, well, this is going to affect what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was always weird to think about. Like, we were in the city of Chicago in March for what, 5 days maybe, like total. Like,
each Monday maybe.
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday morning. That was about it.
Yeah. Because we would come back after these games, late Sunday nights, be there Monday, and then you'd be ready to get on the flight again on Tuesday night.
So
yeah, go ahead, Bill. Sorry.
No, and I was just gonna say, I don't know what it was like for you guys, but like, I was so dialed into what I had to do from a work perspective that I don't even think I really fully understood what was going on or even appreciated it during those 3 weeks. It wasn't until probably even a couple weeks after the Final Four, even, because it was so crazy those first few weeks that we were back, that you finally step back and you're like, holy crap, we just made a run to the Final Four. We're Loyola. But during the time, I don't feel like I ever even really had a chance to enjoy much of what was going on, just because we were so stinking busy.
Yeah.
Like there were moments where during the day, again, you're so locked into what you're doing and 90,000 things you have to do on your checklist. But then there were like small moments where someone random would come up to you on the street and be like, "Go Loyola," or like you'd be in you'd be passing a restaurant or a bar and we'd be on Sports Center on every TV, and like those weird moments kept happening where it's like, this is like a thing. Like people are getting on board, but not so much. I think you're right, 100%. I don't know if we necessarily realized how much of the darling of the tournament we really were. Because everyone was kind of pulling for us, and definitely Final Four was weird though. Like those, I always think of those media days leading up to it, where you're just in a back room with Jim Nance and Charles Barkley.
What are you doing in a back room with Jim Nance and Charles Barkley, Austin? That sounds odd.
I don't feel set that one up. But it was weird. We did those pre interviews, and they were in like closets. Like they weren't in like these big like
studio rooms or
wonderful
anything.
rooms. They were in these like super side so nobody would find you.
But I mean, kind of touching on Bill and Austin's point a little bit on, I was walking to the office in Manhattan before all the quarantine happened, and I had on a Loyola shirt, and I was walking past Grand Central on 47th, and some guy pops out and kind of like runs over and starts yelling, "Go Loyola," and he has on a Ramblers hat. Would that have happened before this run?
I was going to say, my similar story is 3 days after we got knocked out against Michigan in the Final Four, I went to a practice round at the Masters, and I wore a Loyola polo. And I, not even thinking about it, I was like, it's a polo, I'll just wear that. I got stopped so many times by people that asked, like, oh my God, what do you do? Like, how are you connected to them? Like, I talked with one guy at a table, and he was like, oh, Sister Jean, that's amazing. Like, it was so cool to just see like how like the reach we had.
Yeah.
Do you think that the guys on the team, how they react to all this? What was their, like, let's start with Crut. I mean, this year, especially for him, like, how's he taking all this in? I mean, he was getting the interviews just like, all the other guys.
Also the most even-keeled guy in the entire world.
Yeah. I mean, Crut might be the funniest student athlete I've ever worked with. I mean, the kid cracks me up on a daily basis. Our trainer Corey and I have joked about it that when him and Lucas graduate next year, we might be done too. Well, all the guys on the team were great, but those two guys were special. And they were as freshmen. Yeah. And Crut, just on the floor, Crut was unbelievable as a leader, as a freshman. He was definitely the most vocal freshman I've ever been around. And his career's only taken off since that first year. But he had some really big games against big time teams too. He was great against Florida. He was great in that Michigan game. He was the real deal. And we really started to kind of take off a little bit too once he got into the starting lineup that year.
Yeah.
I've got 15:30 on the clock, 39-32 Miami advantage right now. The Ramblers, I was mixing in Loyola and Ramblers, I guess, had the ball, but now Miami coming back the other way. There was much made about the we got the Ramblers coming back after a steal and another basket, so here they come again. About the relationship with two of the teammates, Clayton Custer, Ben Richardson. Can you guys shed some light about how they were as teammates, what you saw from afar? Because those guys were high school teammates, right? Is that the backstory?
Yeah, no, they were. I mean, those guys were. I mean, you talk about being inseparable. Those two guys were inseparable. But I think the bond that they had off the court really showed on the court too. I can't tell you how many times too that Clay would drive and he'd be under the basket and you're like, what are you doing? Where are you going? And he would just kick a pass out and he just instinctively knew where Ben was going to be and vice versa. And those guys just had such an unbelievable synergy on the floor that, I even feel like you could kind of see it a little bit, last year after Ben graduated and Clay had that last year, you could see that, something was just a little bit off. And it was, those guys were just so in sync. And they brought a winning mentality from having been so successful as high school players, winning a couple of state titles, that they brought that winning mentality to our program.
Bill, how many people do you think did stories about Ben and Clay being high school teammates from the
I think the better question would be who didn't do a story.
I think everybody did a story on Ben and Clay, and they loved it, though. They were never like, oh, no, not another, like... They
telling this story over and over.
Well, you see that synergy in this game towards the end, isn't it, Bill? Whenever, or is that the Tennessee game when Clay drives on the hammer play, and he kicks it out, and it looks like no one's there, and Ben comes out of nowhere and knocks the triple down.
Yeah, no, those guys were so in sync that it was special. And it's like a corny thing to say, and I know Porter says it all the time, but like part of I think what made that whole run so special, obviously you're winning games, so that helps, but these guys, they're unbelievable guys just to be around, and they represented the university and the department and the program so well. And same thing with these other guys here on the screen too. If I wouldn't have wanted to share in that journey with anybody else, and that's the kind of stuff that makes it so memorable and so special.
And they were, they're great guys, and we know that from the year. But even I just remember during how appreciative they were of our staff, the community, the alumni. Like they would hang out with people in the lobby, and they'd take the time to talk to them. And they didn't. Porter doesn't give them a lot of free time. They're pretty locked in when they're doing stuff. But when they had the free time, they would take the pictures with the fans and sign the autographs and all sorts of stuff like that. So they're literally all just great guys.
You wanted to do more for them.
Yes.
But it was one of those things that if they asked for something, you would do that plus more for them because of just how appreciative and good of people they were.
They were the perfect example of obviously in this job, we all get asked to do a lot of different things, and sometimes people are
right.
Sometimes they're not. I don't think there was a person on that staff or that team that ever failed to say something to you. And it was amazing how far those two. It's amazing how far those two words can go.
For sure. I love it just popped into my head, but they did these huge media shoots before the Final Four where they did with bumpers and the big intro videos, and so they had this Hollywood soundstage built, and for one of them they had to kind of stand on this platform, and it was Ben and Clay, and they had to basically
I know what you're talking about.
Do all that sort of thing. So we're filming in there, and they're kind of on a break, and there's 200 college kids around them, just all wearing Loyola stuff, all going crazy. And I can't remember if it was Ben or Clay, but one of them goes, wow, yeah, it's so cool that they let you guys leave school early to come down here and be part of the video shoots. I'm not playing a game for a few days. And
it was Clay.
Yep.
Yeah, the kid goes, oh, we're actually actors. We're being paid right now. We don't go to Loyola.
We're going to be in 10 minutes.
Yeah, literally, our thing got done. You watched all these kids go into this room in Loyola stuff, and then they came back out wearing Kansas stuff.
The one thing I think on semi that note though was they kept getting questions about. I bet the best thing about this Final Four run was you got to fly on a private jet. Yeah. And it was a Michigan beat writer who did it, and I finally just quote tweeted it from the Loyola account. We fly PJs everywhere. And I think it was Clayton and Ben and Mark came up to me the next day. It was like, thank you so much.
11:57 on the clock here. 45-40 Miami advantage with the Ramblers bringing the ball back up the court. according to the stat that just pulled up, Ramblers have scored 30 points in the paint.
I felt like at this point of the game too, like I don't know about any of you guys, but like I was almost sitting there going, "Oh man, we're like 2 Miami threes away from this thing, kind of running away from us." And and like Lucas knocks down a three there.
Yep.
Like, 2-point game again. Like it's just we never
go away. Never went away.
The weird thing was too is, like you said, all these games in the tournament were so close, and we'd won a lot of games obviously during the regular season that year. I don't remember any of them being that close. Maybe like a couple of the ones that we lost. But.
Look back to like the NBC tournament that year. Where like we had to grind our way past UNI, and then the Bradley game was a war, and then like we kind of got spoiled against Illinois State because with what happened there, like we just had put in a great show, but then it was outside of the Illinois State and Kansas State game. Every game was a nail biter.
Yeah, I guess too. I think there towards the middle of the season, I think after we lost to Indiana State, and Bill, you might be able to speak correctly about this, but we went on a run of, I feel like 15+ point victories for about 6 or 7 games, and it got to the point that if we weren't winning by 20, what are we doing? We're struggling.
Yeah, no, they got on a run, and I remember the game at Illinois State was relatively close. It was like a 7-point game.
Yep.
And then that last regular season game, after we had already wrapped up the regular season title, the Illinois State game at Gentile was pretty close too.
Yep.
But other than that, the game at Bradley that we lost was a 2-point game. But other than that, there wasn't anything that I think was a single-digit game.
Yeah, your memory's phenomenal. You guys, so after you lost to Indiana State, you beat UNI, you beat Illinois State by 7, just as you said, 68-61. You guys finished the regular season beating Illinois State 68-61. Go figure. But yeah, you guys won games 75-56, 76-66, 80-71. You had a close one at Indiana State, 75-71, but 72-57. You destroyed Missouri State, 97-75. I mean, yeah, you guys were.
We wanted
on
100 on that because it was that was whenever we celebrated the 100 years of Loyola basketball.
Oh, okay.
So that would have been great if it would have been 100 points on the 100-year celebration.
Yeah, for what I remember too, that was a game that both teams at one point were both shooting like 60% in or something like that. It was just an absolute crap meet for a while.
I think one of the sponsors really regretted giving us the 7 3-pointers. I think we hit that every game but 2.
Yeah. Baby Alberto's, JD for 3.
Nice.
Free pizza every night, baby.
Yep. Oh, man. 9 minutes left.
Yeah, Miami just drained another outsider. Oh, nice hair on that guy. This is probably when I thought, oh man, they're going to come up short. But, I mean, you just never know. That's why you play the game. 5 points could seem like everything or could seem like nothing to some teams. But, I mean, I guess the theme of this year's team was culture, and the culture was they didn't die, they didn't quit. As you see right there, knock it down another 3.
Oh, Dante.
And the Rambler fans go crazy.
As does Nick Donardi.
Nick Donardi's dad. Oh, Porter's doing the squat clap.
Yep.
We got some good pictures of that.
Every time we go down the floor, I'm just kind of like letting my eyes slip over to Doug and Jack too.
So tell me about that. The Valley reps are there in addition to you guys. What's your reaction? 'Cause I know those guys obviously, and I've heard some stories about their behavior at previous NCAA tournaments that they've told me, mind you, is nothing that they're ashamed of. As the Ramblers knock down another shot to keep it going here, a 2-point lead for Miami. One of the ones I remember them telling about, I can't remember if it was you and I. It may have been the year that 4 teams got in. But those guys are Valley lifers, as you all know, and many people know. I'm talking about Doug, Doug Elgin, the commissioner, Jack Watkins, associate commissioner, Mike Kern, another associate commissioner. And when a team does the Valley proud like this, man, it's time to stick your chest out, because the Valley never does get that credit. And when they do show up like this and do it, it's a point of pride. And it's usually a point of pride with all the teams in the league, but of course for the conference office. But yeah, they're happy to do interviews and things like that. But there are lots of fist pumpings under the table. And they've told me several stories at NCAA sites where they're like fist pumping and they don't want to be seen. And Jack will be sitting next to Doug and go, "Doug, knock it off. You can't be seen doing that." And he goes, "I don't care, Jack. I'm proud because they almost didn't get into this damn tournament." There's stuff like that.
I can play off that actually, because this was the game where Doug and Jack were obviously right next to us, and I was next to Jack, and then Doug was on the other side, and there might have been like a team, somebody related to somebody that had something to do with the television production was next to us. And Jack, before the game, hopefully he won't kill me for saying this, but he mentioned, he's like, "I got to get Doug away from the TV people. Like, he'll get too excited, he'll cheer, he'll do something." And then the entire game, Jack is sitting like this, and I just hear him go, "Shoot the ball, Dante."
Yes.
That was a travel, and I'm sitting there going, "And you were worried about Doug?" Yeah, Jack's just sitting there like talking into his hand the entire time, and Jack's amazing, but it's just, that was so great.
That's the way he controls himself.
Yep.
He's gotta have an outlet, and his outlet is his hand. 55-53 with 6:30 to go. Miami with a 2-point lead, and the Ramblers about to inbound the ball. I'm going to bring up the play-by-play here as we get close to the end. It's been a fast hour, gentlemen, even with me getting booted off my terrible internet connection. Sorry about that in the editing, but it's all good. You guys have given me some great insight, so I appreciate you doing this.
We gotten the gang back together for a while.
Yeah. When's the last time you guys have talked to Jeremiah?
Almost every day. We have a group chat.
Nice.
Yeah, we at least text almost every day, but I haven't seen his ugly mug in a while.
Billy, I'm the prettiest man on this call.
You can, when the camera goes back and forth, you can spot Jeremiah. His beard is like, and it's like bright red.
I never had to be worried about people asking where I was on TV, because anytime I got a text about it, I just go, "All right, look here, and if you could spot the guy with the red beard,
there it is.
You're good."
He's broken it right now.
Oh man,
stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, it was always easy to see.
Looks like we got a Miami offensive foul. 6 minutes left. Jim Larinaga is about to take off his suit jacket, but not so fast. He's just holding it.
The basketball managers were getting fired up there.
Yeah, those look like some loyal students that came down, but those are the managers.
They're not actors either, right?
No, not paid actors.
Oh man,
we had a pretty good core support system through. Like I remember thinking each round, there's so many more Rambler fans here than I thought.
Yeah.
Plus,
it just picked up so much steam.
I was going to say, you guys, I mean, after going on the run in regular season, winning the tournament, I mean, the bandwagon started to fill up. And then, obviously, of course, it just probably, you filled it up to the brim in the tournament run, but...
Yeah,
I mean,
I can't remember. I think we were sitting at the hotel bar in Dallas the night before we played Tennessee, and I remember seeing a bunch of our women's volleyball players just roll in, and it was like they'd driven straight down, and it was like then you got to Atlanta, and it was like after the Nevada game, we had 3 times as many fans there all of a sudden on Saturday, because it was the same thing. Everybody had just jumped in a car and driven down.
Yeah, that was the coolest thing about it. Atlanta was great because we had to have, I don't know what the numbers were, but it felt like every student athlete that's been at Loyola since I've been there, which is almost 20 years, was down in Atlanta, and we had a pregame event, and I popped down there just to say hi to people for a couple minutes before we left to go to the arena, and it was awesome. Like to me, that was like the coolest part of the whole thing, was to just see how much pride people got back in Loyola because of that run, and how it reconnected everyone, and everybody had such a great time. It was a giant college reunion for some people 3 weeks, for some people 2, but that was really cool.
It was everybody wanted to take pictures with Sister Jean first, and then it was everybody wanting to take pictures with Hitch.
Yeah.
Oh, how can we forget the great Tom Hitchell? Probably a Loyola,
captain, the leader.
A Loyola institution, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, on Bill's point of everyone coming back, I think it was Matt Young flew in from Shanghai for the Atlanta weekend.
Yeah, I mean, there were people from all every sport came. You had people coming back, and it was amazing. It was really cool.
Our golf. I remember our current golf coach Eric Hoops and his girlfriend, now his wife. They just hopped in a car and drove down right after the Nevada game, and it was like that kind of thing. It was like everybody came together.
Right when we got to the Sweet 16, it was every Loyola fan's like, we're not gonna miss this. Like we're just not gonna miss this. And then we keep winning, and there's more games. Everybody's like, well, like we can't miss this one either.
So also, just to show you how strong this group's bond was, Austin, I'm gonna get you in trouble here. But Austin FaceTimed me and let me, because during the Valley tournament this year, and propped me up next to the hoop so that I could watch sitting on underneath the basket.
Jeremiah didn't get the channel that the
What do you not have cable TV? Oh, okay.
I think I was like Jerry. I think I was sending you like an ESPN Plus login during the game. I'm like, here's what Bill and I use. Just take it.
Yeah, he sent it to me, and as he was sending it to me, Austin FaceTimed me and propped me up underneath the basket.
Oh, wow.
And I think he put me on mute.
Oh, wow.
I just put I put him on mute, and I just turned the phone around and let it rest on my foot, which you're probably not supposed to do, but
what are they gonna do? Get me?
You can't stop everybody, I guess. Can't stop everybody. 328, 57, 58, 55 Miami as they're shooting free throws. One more coming up for Miami as we head into the stretch here. I know from the power of the future and great game notes that Miami's going to miss this free throw. And here come the Ramblers back the other way.
Oh, and there it is.
Nerves? What are we guys thinking here with 3 minutes left? Are we getting worried? Are we like, this ain't got to come to an end
nervous.
yet?
Oh, yeah, I was sick at this point.
Because shots aren't exactly always falling at this point in the game. And then they'll get a possession back, and Krupp will get some free throws. But it wasn't easy, obviously.
No.
The biggest thing personally I remember about this moment was I didn't grab my extra battery.
Oh,
and I'm like,
Austin.
if they go to overtime, I got to run to the Kia place way in the back, which was like the Mavericks practice facility, like attached to the building. And I got to run back out so I can get for overtime. I remember
Typical Austin.
I don't know.
Typical.
It was a rookie
Forgot
mistake.
his battery.
It was our first game. Rookie mistake.
Act like you've been at the dance before, Austin. Act like you've been there.
Act like you've been at any basketball game ever before.
See, this is why for at least a year and a half I tried to get Tom to just can you.
Jeez.
From the moment I met you, Austin, I just
And
walked
look
in
who's
Tom's
still at
office.
Loyola.
Yeah, that's it. Don't worry, I'm playing the long con just when you least expect it.
Right.
Steve's gonna come in there and give you a pink slip and send you right back to Iowa where you came from with a little Casey pizzas, whatever.
As Cameron Krutwick goes to the free throw line.
Forever connected.
Forever connected.
Forever connected.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. First one knocked down by Cameron Krutwick with 2.5 minutes left to play, and Austin's job is on the line.
I think at this point, though, me and Haley were nervous talking to each other through the last 3 minutes of this, just not really knowing what we're saying, but just coming up with different scenarios on how we're going to win.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Jack chimed in with a couple, I think.
It just got tense. It just got more and more tense with every passing second. Oh, man.
I know that there's a big bucket coming up soon, so I'm going to pull up the audio when that happens.
Huge frame.
Brunswick did a nice job of absorbing the bump, stood his ground, and then got a hand in the steal on that play. Again, time and score situation. Work for the best possible shot. Doesn't have to be a three, but
it's now too like we had the fans starting to get on our side at this point too. I felt.
Yeah, I was going to say,
you coming in for the next game.
Yeah,
and like
what typically happens at an NCAA tournament.
Fans.
Yeah, you got the fans from the other games.
We'll play low seed. Why not?
Yeah, that's an NCAA tradition.
That Tennessee fans would ever cheer for us.
The last time they ever cheer for a Loyola Chicago team.
Everyone
They
likes the
loved
little
us when
dog.
we beat Florida.
Everyone likes the little
They loved
dog.
us when we beat Florida in December. They loved us when we beat Miami. And once we beat them, we were the enemy.
Not so much.
yeah, I mean, and his athleticism is something that's absolutely needed. Averages about
Man.
Oh, man.
Dante
I
Anchor's
just remember,
gonna shoot
I think
some
I
free
hit
throws here.
Haley whenever Dante missed that.
Yep. The range of emotions, just. And then you got the great Dave Vitale sitting behind the bench.
It's a little bit aggressive.
cool as could be.
Yep.
You mean our social media guy?
Our social media guy, yeah. The second best beer in the department.
Yep. Oh, when you see your reflection,
Yep.
still the greatest photo you've ever taken.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yep.
I see Jack really clenching the hands.
Oh yeah.
Jack was yeah, God, there's Doug.
Oh yeah. You two. That quick shot. You two look like you're dying right now, right? Jeremiah.
Oh, we were.
I was probably about my 8th diet Pepsi or whatever. I don't remember.
Haley had moved to the diesels at that point. He wasn't on diet anymore.
Yeah, I was just going. It was like
Diet. This man said, "Give me all your calories and fried chicken."
Exactly.
Here comes a critical Loyola possession here. I'll turn up the volume 4.
and that would have put him in obviously some jeopardy.
Here's Williamson holding. We come up on the final 60 seconds. Custer from deep. Splash!
Splash for Clayton Custer, and we're tied at 60.
That was a huge play. You called.
Yep. Oh.
Goosebumps.
That probably was where I was like, wow, this is gonna come right down to the wire.
All right, they've cut. and
Let's getting the fans into it.
We've got under 50 seconds going now. And Miami knocks down a tough fadeaway.
I'm getting nervous again.
I know. I need some emotional support.
Yeah.
Ramblers back with the ball. I've got closed captioning here. I'm going to turn off my closed captioning so I can see the score. And a foul called. Marcus Towns going to go to the line. Man, you guys had just some great athletes on that team. It really was a perfect storm of role players, posts, guards. I mean, people always talk about in a league like the Valley, having strong leadership at the guard position matters a lot. But Crut was a difference maker. You had athletes on the wings. I mean, it's basketball sayings. But and he misses the first free throw. I heard somebody clinch there already.
Well, Marcus, could have played football at Penn State, but chose basketball over it.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable athlete.
Yeah.
He's strong as an ox. I mean, he was. I definitely wouldn't want to be in the lane as he was driving through. That's for sure. He'd definitely get the Matador treatment from me and be like, "Go right ahead. Hoop is yours."
We've got the current Southern Illinois coach coaching on the sidelines, standing, calling orders as he knocks down the second free throw. This is funny looking back at all this now.
Yep. Barking out the commands.
He's pretty much coaching right there. Look at him. All right, Miami's inbounding the ball with 26 seconds to go. And how about that?
And that was
a turnover.
Oh, this.
Yeah, this is it right here.
I'll give him.
I'll kick up the volume again.
He's trying to foul. I thought when you
No, that was right in front of you.
Yeah.
Slipped.
Yep.
He came out and tried to get the basketball. He slipped.
Wow, he slipped and deflects the ball right off of him.
Foul. No matter what, you got to give it to him. He was trying to foul. Right, I give it to him. I don't know if he's trying to
Porter saw it immediately.
score for the steal. You got to foul. I think you first all coaches staff, you going to say go.
Porter will probably be a heck of a referee.
What he did, he went for it.
All his energy,
Animated.
all his energy. I can see them charge calls, those block calls.
Yep.
The charge call, he would skip halfway down the court.
Or free gave it to you.
Trying for the foul.
So, of course, you got to go through a review.
Extend the game without taking too much
totally
time
right,
off the
Lynn,
clock.
but you got to go for
Oh,
I always wonder why. I mean, I get you got to get the call right, but at some point when you know a call, it's clear why it takes so long. And again, I'm not going to be critical of officials. I don't really care that much, but I just wonder, like, even in NFL, like, if you know what the call is, it's like, move on, right? But, oh, well.
Yeah.
So with the DB Sport replay system, sometimes it's literally just technical. Like,
Yeah. They could be having who knows what kind of issues. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know, Austin. I think that's just when you run it.
Oh yeah, sorry. That's just me.
poor setup is probably the real.
Yeah,
Probably because the battery ran out.
Yeah.
battery ran out.
Yeah.
If he would have brought an extra battery, it wouldn't have taken so long.
A bit of planning ahead. That's all it would have taken.
Preparation. That's what Porter preaches.
Yep.
And you just didn't even do it.
Kelly Briscoe, who used to work at the Valley, always had a saying, prior planning prevents possible problems.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is it all worked out. I got every shot on tape.
You're lucky.
I was very lucky.
All right, Ramblers going to inbound the ball with 23 and a half seconds to go. I'm even kind of nervous here as they take the ball to the basket.
Everybody's on their feet.
Oh, can't get the layup.
Oh no!
Miami comes away with it. We got a foul called. And the Hurricanes are feeling pretty good with 9.3 to go now. A lot of contact on the replay.
Yeah, that was one I definitely thought Kruk got fouled.
I was gonna say,
And
you
in
could-
my head, I'm like, we don't win if we end up losing this game.
That call right
Boy,
there, non-call.
We might have to do some reminders about officiating comments on before we go into the press conference. Luckily, we didn't have to do that.
Let's not get fined.
Yeah.
And a ball, bounced probably about 30 times. So here we go. Volume back up.
Here we go.
One timeout, they don't take it. And the Ramblers are moving up.
Life-changing.
And at this point, you and I are on a floor in the out of our chairs.
Said that they will look.
I've got Jack and Doug on top of us.
The fans are going crazy.
Great
So as
celebration.
Loyola celebrates.
And right off the missed free throw, a timeout remaining, they go right down the other way, and we're going to obviously get replays. But Dante Ingram's the hero. Here we go with the replay.
Take a look. Either way, time left or not, give Ingram a lot of credit.
I mean, what a dagger.
And there's 4 seconds left. That's still a huge shot.
When he released it, I knew it was. It sounds crazy. It's one of those things you could just see it even from the side. It's going in.
Feel it. He had time to dribble further in.
We got the Jim Larinaga. I've never seen that.
Classic. Oh.
But it,
From Jim Larinaga tells the story. Will it be a
Obviously, everybody's stormed the court and whatnot, and I took 2 steps out to run out there with them, and I got screamed at. 2 steps back. So you're gonna put time back on.
They can't catch and shoot here. You're right. So point.
Right, Austin, I did the same thing, but I was able to slip past them because I was like, all right, they're gonna want Dante for TV. I got to go grab him, right away. And I'm like sprinting out there like a madman, and I'm like, oh wait a minute, I guess we're still playing. I better get my butt back on the sideline.
Yeah. Well, and I got really good at what they don't tell you is on the sideline, your color of your wristband is your time to go on the court after. And so if you have a green wristband, you have to wait 5 seconds. If it's a yellow wristband, you have to wait 15. Pink is like 30. So like basically each priority of media can go get the shot versus other priority. I had no idea that was a thing until this game. And I ended up talking to the guy that yelled at me after. I'm like, what was that? Well, I don't want to do that again. And luckily I did, because there were 2 more big moments like that where right at the end, it's like, do you run out and get the shot, or are you gonna get yourself in trouble there? But yeah, learned that in that moment.
They put up a graphic that says the Ramblers were 17-1 the last 18 games since January, and about to go 18-1. As Miami's trying to figure out what do you do with .3, because I guess NCAA rule says with .3 you can't even catch and shoot.
I was still nervous, even though the rules said what they said.
I was sitting there like, oh my God, what if we foul here or something?
I guess,
like that?
That's the situation. Yeah.
What if just put everybody under the basket, make them pull something crazy out.
Here we go with Miami inbounding.
Get on that ball. You kidding me?
Yeah, he's on it.
Yeah, I was going to say, he was backing up for a second.
And Porter's going to take his timeout. The timeout.
Doug Elgin is on his feet right now.
He's looking in the crowd.
And a chance to show you that Ingram 3.
Another replay.
That's just nice. Like you can see, the defender was right there, but he got a chance to knock it down. But before that,
I see Bill just get up actually too.
Oh yeah,
Bill said nope.
I'm out of here. I'm gone.
You know how that feels, right?
Yeah, I do. I definitely do.
Ingram, Missouri Valley Conference Tournament MVP.
That was a great shot.
Points in the final to defeat Illinois State.
There's the photo.
Chicago team, winners of 10.
Good thing we paid to get all the highlights.
Talking about them as a potential sleeper and showing you why here.
The Miami fans are despondent. Their tournament run has come to a quick, or about to come to a quick exit.
Find a team as complete a team as the Missouri Valley Conference has seen, and obviously you get on this stage.
These shots are always like the most awkward in sports because you never want to be that person. We've all seen them. We've seen crying flute girl and just everything, and never fails.
You never want to be them, but when you're on this side of it, you're just like, feed me their tears.
The craziest one is the next game with Tennessee when they cut back and forth between Sister Jean and then the little girl crying.
Yes.
That's very telling.
There you go.
There it is.
Madness Magic as the Ramblers from Loyola, Chicago moving on to the second round. Their first NCAA tournament victory in 33 years.
There you have it. The Ramblers win a game. First time in the tournament since 1985. Final thoughts, gentlemen? I don't want to keep you guys too long on any other commitments. This has been a fun watch back. We may have to do another one of these sometime. But what do you think? What's lasting memories of the Final Four and the entire run, Bill?
The whole thing was, like I said, it was a blur. But it's certainly not lost on me too that, a lot of people that were mentors to me in the business still haven't had a chance to get to the Final Four with their teams that they cover. So you do realize how fortunate, that we were to experience that, especially at a mid-major school like Loyola. I mean, some of these guys that I work with are at, Power Fives and they've never been to a Final Four with their team. So that was one. And just one thing, after the Miami game, I won't forget being on the bus on the way back to the hotel, and Chance the Rapper had tweeted at Dante. So that was nuts. And then he was talking like he was going to come to practice after we won the Tennessee game. He was talking that he might be coming to practice during the week. We're like, what? What is going on? Like, that's when you're like, holy cow, this thing is totally taking off, and we're living in an altered lifestyle right now.
Barack Obama tweeted about us.
Yeah, Obama tweeted. Yeah.
From Mark Adams to Chance the Rapper. Wow. What do you think, Jeremiah?
I think that Dante's shot in this run through and through was life-changing. I can't speak for them, but for me, I went from practically unknown designer to getting job offers left and right. And we were voted the best design in March Madness. So none of that's going to happen without Dante's shot, without Clay's shot, without Marcus's shot. But I think through it all, though, is just the friendship that I still have with these guys.
Brian?
Yeah, I mean, kind of to echo what those guys are saying, like, I guess I'm the outlier here. I'm the only Loyola alum in this group. I had a real sense of pride because they're my team. They were my team and my alma mater. But I got to the Dante's shot was amazing, and then Clay's shot, and then Marcus's shot, and the Kansas State game. You could just kind of list all the great accomplishments and the great moments. But I remember all that stuff. But what I'm probably gonna remember the most is the time I got to spend with these guys, and staying up till 2:30 in the morning with Jeremiah and watching Bob's Burgers in hotel rooms because we were both up doing work. And
Bob's Burgers was a lifesaver.
It was life-saving, and the number of times Bill and I were trading texts and emails about stuff, and Austin, Austin, you and I remember still sitting on a patio in San Antonio with you, being we can have a parade at this time next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had these moments where you're wow, this is really happening right now. But at the end of the day, I got to do with three of the best people I know.
Austin, you've seen a lot. You're like the Valley guy here besides me, between your UNI run and now you see a Final Four with Loyola.
Yeah, I mean, that's what everybody kept saying kind of during this time was just this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, not only for the team, but for you guys. So take those moments and just kind of soak it in, take a breath, and then just really kind of be present in it. For a long time, I thought the coolest thing I'd ever see was you and I go to the Sweet 16, and then we kind of blew by the Sweet 16, so that was cool. But no, I mean, exactly what all these guys are saying. It sounds so cliche to say kind of the created by culture thing, but I think that's the best motto that we had, especially during that time, is just not only the team, the coaches, the fans, but the support staff as well. We just we always kind of had that yes and mentality, let's go tackle it, let's go do whatever, and it was a lot of fun.
I think the one takeaway, of course, I have, not being there, but knowing who's there, is that people from the outside looking in see a career in sports and they go, oh, you work in sports. That's not a real job. But they don't know about the hours. They don't know about what you do. And it's not like the glamorous pay and the glamorous travel that people think of. But you guys know how to have a good time while doing it, because you're not curing, cancer here. You're working in sports. So having fun while doing it and realizing what you're doing makes a lot of sense. So this has been fun to go back in time and relive it. You guys should go out and create some more memories so we can do another one, or maybe we just do another tournament game sometime soon. I don't know. This is great.
Really good ones to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. So I appreciate you guys doing this. This has been fun.